It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
You're hearing all this. We got you motivated. We got you excited. You're saying, you know what? I do want to be an investor. I want to do this. What do I do? What's the game plan? What's the plan of attack? What's the next step? And how should I choose this?
Yep.
So we're going to give you some of that guidance, but I also want to walk you through things you need to be careful of, because the financial media industry has got this horrible habit of leading you astray. If they're not trying to scare the heck out of you, because they know you'll remember that and keeps eyeballs so they can sell ads and keeps you there, they're trying to mislead you because they have to have content. So the first thing you'll see, should you invest in the best performer?
Yeah, because it is so easy to go out there and find a magazine cover that says the top X funds of year X, or
it could even be the quarter technology funds of second quarter of 2019, and you'll be like, "Woo! Should I go buy those?"
Why Bitcoin is the future of investing? Why this stock is what Google was 50. You see that all over the place. We are inundated with that kind of information coming to us, and realistically, if something really was the amazing thing, if it really was the top performer, if it really has done so good, what do you think happens if you're buying it after everyone already thinks it's the best? It's the criminal. That's what we saw in the 2000 in the dot-com bubble bursting.
It's true. And I call it chasing the hot dot. You do not want to be a chase the hot dot investor. There's actually, we don't have to keep up with this because there's actually a group, SPIVA, which is Standard & Poor's, which of course is the index. They actually track how many actively managed funds outperform the straight up index.
Yep.
I will tell you, it's abysmal. The most active management has trouble beating the straight up S&P 500. It's typically historically around 75% get beat. But then they bring up the point that, okay, so there probably is 20 to 25% that on a year over year basis is outperforming the index. So those are good managers, right?
And a lot of people take that and say, okay, well, all I have to be is good enough to pick the top 25%.
Yeah, I just got to be 1 in 4 chances. I'll go pick an advisor. I'll pick a fund that's going to be better than the index. The problem is, how consistent are they? What's the perseverance that they actually do this consistently year over year? So here's the research. Out of 550 domestic equity funds that were in the top quartile as of September 2016, only 7.9% managed to stay in the top quartile at the end of September 2018.
So I'm going to say that again. So if they were in the top 25% in 2016, only 7% of those were still in the top in 2018.
So there's about 93% fell off. And then listen to this. If we just go out a little longer on the time frame to March of 2018. If we brought it back to March of 2018 because there was some market volatility and other things in there, it was only 2.33%.
I would go even further than that and say it wasn't just market volatility, Brian. The fourth quarter of 2018, things got really scary, right?
Yeah.
Things got really scary. This doesn't even factor in how many managers probably didn't make it through that really, really well.
That's a great
You know
point.
what I mean? This is people just mentioning, well, I think it's Warren Buffett who always says, when the tide goes out, that's when you see who's skinny dipping.
Yeah.
This shows that even in a really robust, really strong bull market, active managers don't have the edge. When volatility enters, it gets even worse, which I think is worth noting.
So it goes back to something we've already talked about on the show, is that the hard part is you need to focus on the habit of saving more than choosing the best investment.
That's right.
Because analysis paralysis is a true thing that a lot of people struggle with. But then also, once you've got a healthy savings habit, you've done the hard part. So just let the money work. And we're going to talk about now, what is that hard part? How do you make the money work the best for you? You live in the absolute best time to be an investor. Back when I first started coming out and investing myself, it was a mess. Back in the middle 90s, yes, the stock market was way up, but it was not as transparent and easy to be an investor.
Was the very first thing you ever invested in an S&P 500 index fund?
No, because I didn't know. Truthfully, it would have been hard to buy an index fund in the early to mid 90s. I ended up buying a B share because I didn't know anybody. I realized I was coming out in public accounting. So I bought a B share that had all kind of back-end deferred charges. It was highly specialized. It was just not ideal with an internal expense ratio that was over 2%.
Oh.
There are so many stinkers built into this. Now you can buy index funds. You can do all kind of other things with much lower minimums than you had back when I was originally investing. And here's the thing. We love talking about target retirement funds. These things didn't even exist when I first came on the market. And what a target retirement fund is is that you choose the year you think you want to retire, and then that is going to set up your asset allocations, because if you're young and you choose a year that's 30 years out in the future, it's going to be a very aggressive portfolio. If you're choosing a year that's only 2 or 3 years in the future, it's going to be a very conservative. But what I like about these funds is for the person who should be focusing more on the behavior of saving more than the analysis of investments, is that every year that they get a little bit older, maybe they need to get a little more conservative, the glide path of the target retirement fund is going to do exactly what they need to make those changes automatically for you.
I think what's so beautiful about them is it really distills the decision you have to make down to 2.
Yep.
How much do I want to save? What year do I want to retire? Then you have to think about how much do I have in this bucket, that bucket, when do I buy, when do I sell, when do I reallocate? All that goes out of the table. You focus on the 2 things that matter. When do I want to retire? How much do I want to save? It's that
and then
easy.
Just get to it, start saving. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, which target retirement funds? So the biggest players, because we don't make recommendations on this show, some of the biggest players is obviously Vanguard Investments has their target retirement. Fidelity has their Fidelity Freedom Index funds, which are great. Charles Schwab offers it. Most of these, all these low-cost providers, those are the market leaders that you ought to at least do some due diligence on.